Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Monday, April 19th, 2021. We're in the first day of the new trading week and the last hour of the current trading day. The last hour of the day is my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. I say this because at the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in, they take control away. They take the control of the price away from the day traders and the algorithms, and they move it at the end of the day. And I believe where they move it, to whatever level they move it, is the most valid level to make your buying and selling decisions. So that's why I make the majority of my swing trade decisions at the end of the day, in the last hour, and in particular the last few minutes. So thank you all for coming today. Always nice to have you here. I appreciate you spending the time. I hope that you had a nice weekend. Did some fun stuff, stayed safe, maybe studied up on your charts. And I appreciate the time you spend. I hope that the time that you invest here is paying off in some way, shape, or form in your investing and in your trading. So currently the Dow Jones is down 120 points, down 0.35%. The NASDAQ down 154 points, down 1.1%, and the S&P down 24 points, down 0.58%. So red across the board today. So here is the plan for today. First of all, we are going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. I did have some day trades today that I will share with you. After that, we're going to go over to the board. We're going to take a look and see how those positions are doing. If you're a current or past student of mine, I put your positions up on the board if you'd like me to, and we can take a look at those and see how they're doing. I do see some red over there, but you would expect that when the indexes are all down. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about trader psychology, very important part of the day. I say this every day, but the most important skill that you'll ever learn in trading is just the ability to be disciplined and to follow your plan. So we're going to touch on that. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I've gone down through the results of Kamal Scanner. I do have some potential end of day trades to look at today. I have 3 requirements whenever I'm looking to enter a new trade. First requirement, I need to have a confluence or a combination of signals or indicators, ideally lining up on multiple time frames, indicators such as MACD, RSI, moving averages, ATR channels, V1, V2 entries. The more indicators that I can line up on multiple time frames, the better, because I look at each indicator as a different group of buyers, and you will increase the likelihood of having a profitable trade if you're in the company with as many other buyers as possible. Second requirement, I need to have a good risk to reward ratio. I need to make sure that I have the potential for a greater reward than my risk. That's called asymmetrical risk, and that is really a key component in being a profitable trader. You can have a great setup, but if it's run too far, or how I like to say, if it's chasey, then that skews the risk to reward ratio out of your favor. So that's a very, very important part of my trading. I have definitely even got a little bit more persnickety with it, more particular with it from the beginning of the year, and it has been a good decision. And then number 3, you have to have a complete trade plan. You have to position size for the market's current volatility. You have to have emergency stops. You have to have end of day stops. You can set your intraday profit targets. You find your overhead resistance, pertinent overhead resistance levels. You need to have a methodology in how to trail your stops, so if you have a gain, you don't give it all back. So essentially having a complete trade plan for every trade that I get into. And then also think to yourself, how many positions do I have? How correlated they are? Do I need to add another correlated position? These are important things to consider. So with those 3 requirements, I am going to go through and look at the potential end of day trades of the candidates that I have. If I find one that meets all 3 of those requirements, I will go ahead and buy it near the close of the day. After the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask me. Just type them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them the best I can, give you some clarification. If there are any particular stock symbols that you would like me to look at, if you'd like to get my opinion on them, I'm happy to give you my opinion. Just type them in the chat, put an emoji or an asterisk by it so I know it's time sensitive. And then lastly, if any of my students have any new entries or exits today for me that they would like me to update on the board, if you could just please wait till the end of the day so that I'm done trading, I'm done teaching, pressure's off, and I will spend as much time as we need to get those all updated for you. Okay, so I am going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. I will be back in about 40 seconds. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, let's see who's here today. First on deck is Lilia. How you doing, Lilia? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you and the dogs and everyone are doing well. Thank you for coming today. Dan says, hi, Greg and Gregorians. Hey, Dan. Good to see you, bud. Appreciate you coming here as always. Steve Burns is here. Hello, Steve. Always honor, privilege to have you here, Steve. Thank you for everything that you do for this podcast. Steve says, I hope you had a great weekend, Greg. Some messy chart action today. Some charts are breaking to the downside. Others are holding their ranges. Well, thank you. I did have a good weekend. I hope you had a good weekend as well. And yeah, there's kind of a divergence in what's going on. Some charts are breaking down, like Steve said, and then others are hanging in there, holding, or even up. So it seems like it's a bit of a stock picker's market at the moment. Not everything's going up or going down together. Lava is here. Good to see you, Lava. Lava says, hi, everyone. Lava says, SWBI, best I can find today. Up on a down day, that's important. Relative strength is important. Rejection of the 50 RSI, bounce to the 50 SMA. Weekly is acceptable. SWBI, let's take a look. Oh, Smith & Wesson. Up on a down day, which is good. Has that 200-day resistance right above it, though. Did look like it rejected the 50 RSI. Bounce to the 50 SMA. Very good. Good analysis. Weekly's fine. It's right there in the middle of the value zone. If I were to buy Smith & Wesson, though, at the very least, I would want to see that it had enough strength to get above that 200-day. Because right now, that 200-day is resistance. Remember, if you can break over that resistance, what does it become? It becomes support. And you're always better to have support underneath you than resistance above you. Lova says FEYE, also mediocre. Let's see this mediocre stock. Yeah, I mean, it's rejected the 50 RSI. I reject the 100-day moving average, but I sure would feel a lot better on FireEye if I could get a V1 or a V2. But even if a V2 happened tomorrow and it went up, most likely it'd be too high. The best thing that I could see is this moving sideways for a couple days or dripping down, and then having a nice false breakout of the 100-day moving average and a V1. Remember, when I take a V1, V2, I'm not going to take it above that 1 ATR channel, because as soon as you start getting there, the rubber band starts pulling a little tight there. When it gets to the second ATR channel, it pulls even tighter. When it gets to the third, it's really pulling, and the mean reversion aspect of this wants to pull it back down into the value zone. That's why When stock prices start getting up to the second and the third ATR channel, I'm thinking about selling. I'm not thinking about buying here. Remember, I want to buy in the value zone, sell above value, or I want to buy below the value zone and sell at value. I don't want to buy above value and hit my stop in the value zone. Tracy is here. Hi, Tracy. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Glad to see that you had got out of Boyd Gaming because that's down today. So I've been watching that and glad to see you got out before that down move. Jonathan is here. Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you. Evening, Greg and group. Good to see you, Jonathan. Really great lesson I think we had on Sunday. You did excellent. Very well. Very proud of you. And thank you for coming. Steve says, Etsy has a 1050 EMA crossover that is only bullish signal I see on my whole list. All right, well, let's put it down here on the potentials. Etsy. Okay, and let me put that on my little end of day list today. So Steve's talking about a 1050 SMA crossover. And let me do a little math on Etsy. So it's a down day today for Etsy. And that's a 1050 SMA. Okay. Here's the 1050 SMA that we have over here on IWM, but let's put in Etsy along with it. Yes, it definitely looks like it. It definitely looks like it. Back in the value zone, I think that's a good place. I think that's definitely a good place. Johan is here. Good to see you, Johan. Hope you're doing well. Saw those pictures you sent from Alaska. Those were awesome. Gary is here. Good to see you, Gary. Hope you're doing well. Frank is here. Hi, Greg and group. Good to see you, Frank. Thank you for everything that you do for this channel, Frank, with your wonderful poems. Frank says, fake meat can bite when it's processed into stock Beyond Meat. Yes, I have Beyond Meat, unfortunately, today. But yes, you are right. Not processed. It's been processed into stock today, and it's not doing so hot tamale. Ava is here. Hello, Ava. Nice to see you. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Ava says, happy Monday, Greg and all. Thank you, Ava. Miko is here. Hi, Greg and everyone. Hey, Miko. Good to see you. All right, let's get started. Okay, AGQ. Okay, so Gary and I did take the long position on silver on the weekly charts with this return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, V2 entered here at 49.36. It's currently 45.76, so it's up about $1.80 on the trade. So far, so good. Steve also took the 520 crossover at 46.07 on the daily with the 520 cross. So that one is slightly underwater. The weekly is slightly above water, but you can see how you can take different trades on different time frames. So hopefully that goes up for Gary, Steve, and I. Berkshire Hathaway. All right, so this is looking likely that I will exit Berkshire Hathaway today. I bought Berkshire Hathaway. Am I the only one left? I'm the only one left. I bought with a return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, V1. I bought at 250.86. It moved 1.5 ATRs from my entry. My trailing stop kicked in when I had a close below the previous day's low. I sold half, but I kept the other half, which I'm really glad I did. Because it had another leg up. I sold another half of a half here when it rejected the 70 RSI. And at this point, I am just waiting for a close below the previous day's low. This looks very likely that it's going to close below. If it does, I will just go ahead, exit this trade. From entry to current price, this particular trade's up almost 7%. I have a little blue bar here to remind me that most likely I have to make changes. So if this does close below yesterday's low, and yesterday's low was 270.11, So 270.11 is my key level there. If it closes below 270.11, I will exit the complete trade, lock in profits on Berkshire Hathaway. Budweiser. All right, Budweiser is doing really well. I bought this along with Johan, Frank, Gary, and David. Bought a higher low V2 while the MACD was positive. Bought it at 62.91. It's 68.58. It is up 9.12%, 9.15% on this trade so far, and I did hit a profit target. This is a monthly trade, so I make my decisions at the end of the month. But so far, so good. Really nice trade. Beyond Meat, we were just talking about Beyond Meat. So Steve, Frank, David, Lilia, Tracy, and I did take Beyond Meat with a 520 crossover back here at 137.28. Went up Friday, coming back down today. My protocol when I buy a 520 crossover or a 1050 crossover, any kind of crossover, is if the price closes below the two moving averages that I used on the crossover, I will get out of half the position. That is my end of day stop on Beyond Meat, but only half. So right now the 20 is at 134.97. We're at 134.86. So currently it is below both the 5 and the 20. If it closes there, I'll have to sell half as a precautionary measure. It's a bad sign that it loses both, but other times it will turn right back around, and I want to have half in case that happens. So if this does close below both the 5 and the 20, I will go ahead and have to get out of half. CVS, I did buy CVS back here at 75.03. False breakout to the downside. V2 has moved up nicely. I did hit one profit target earlier in the day when I was up strongly at 76.45. It has not reached my 1.5 ATR trailing stop level, so even if it closes below the previous day's low, I will do nothing. But glad that I was able to take off partial profits today at the higher level when it was stronger in the day. EXPE doing pretty well for us. For Quad and I did take EXPE on Friday, 173.98. Higher low V2 520 crossover at 173.98, and I did hit one profit target earlier today at 176.44, and so far the trade's up about 0.66%, but good relative strength as it's up on a down day. Gold, all right, this has been a wild trade. I did take gold back here with a 520 crossover. I bought it at 162.75. Next day moved up, took some profits, came back down, closed below both the 5 and the 20, sold half because that's my end of day trailing stop procedure. Went up a little bit, down a little bit. Two nice big days up, took profit targets off. I am at trailing stop level. So today, if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will get out of half of what I have remaining. I think that's 165.94. So that's the level I'm going to have to watch. So I do have quite a lot of stocks that I have to watch at the end of the day to make decisions. So 165.94, it's 165.92. If it closed here, I would sell half of what I have remaining because I moved 1.5 ATRs from trailing stop and then closed below the previous day's low. So we'll see. And, anything could happen at the end of the day. GPN. All right, GPN. I did buy GPN back here with a false breakout to the downside. V2 520 crossover. I bought it at 207.72. It's been a wonderful trade. I have not hit any trailing stops. It was above the 65 RSI level. Today it looks like it may close below the 5 EMA, in which case I would get out of the entire position. Whenever I get up to a 65 RSI level and then it breaches and closes below the 5 EMA, it's a bad sign. It looks like the trend may be over, maybe, I don't know, but that's my protocol. So if this does close below the 5 EMA of 215.48, I will exit the entire position, lock in profits. It's 215.31 right now. Goldman Sachs. up on the day. Steve, David, Greg, or that's me, Steve, David, and I did buy Goldman Sachs higher low V2 520 crossover, bought it at 335.28. It's 342.93. It is up on the day, which is really, really good. Have not reached my trailing stop level, but so far so good. Haas. All right. So Haas, Lilia and I bought Haas here, 520 crossover. V1 bullish engulfing bar, bought at 97.09, moved up nicely, took profits, got to my trailing stop level. Friday we had a close below the previous day's low, so I sold half. Now whenever I take a V1 or a V2 and I move 1.5 ATRs from my trailing stop level, if it ever gets back to my entry point, I get out. That's my new emergency stop. And it did get back to my entry point earlier today, so I did exit today. It bounced off it, unfortunately, but that's what my rules call for. So I am out of this trade. Half sold at profit. Other portions of it sold at profits, obviously. So, and then when it got back to break even, I sold the rest. So I am out of Haas at this moment, but it was a profitable trade. And I don't know if Lilia is still in. But I'm glad it reversed back up and created a V1 for you there, Lilia. LITE, nice setup on the weekly. Return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, bullish engulfing bar, V1. I bought it at 91.74. I have held this for about a month, and it's about break even. So really haven't lost any money on this, really haven't made any money on this. Probably give it one more week here, see what it does. Earnings will be coming up. Of course, I have to get out before earnings. So right about break even on the trade. MasterCard. Tracy, Gary, David, Jonathan, Lilia, and I did buy MasterCard back here. 520 cross, 368.54. Has moved up very, very nicely. Got to 65 RSI level. And in danger of losing the 5-day EMA. If it does lose the 5-day, if it closes below the 5-day, I will get out of all of it. If it holds the 5-day but closes under the low of Friday's low, I will get out of half of it. 383.67. So let me mark that down. 383. What did I say? 67. Okay, so that's my kind of line in the sand there. But if it closes below the 5 EMA, I'm out. So you can see I have a lot of positions that I'm looking at potentially getting out of today. Merck was a new entry that I had along with Jonathan. Higher low V2 on the weekly. So I have quite a few weekly trades. I bought it at 77.42, at 77.46. So it's about 6 cents underwater. I do have earnings coming up on the 29th. So even though this is a weekly bar, I will go ahead and exit this position before earnings. All right, SPY. Let me show you. Okay, well, let's just do it this way. So I did buy the SPY, the overnight SPY trade. I bought it at 417.26 on Friday afternoon. Sold it this morning at 416.26. So exactly $1 loss. Interesting, but I'm glad I got out when I did. Then, and I will buy that today at the close. Then I had an intraday trade on SPY. Right here, higher low close back above the 200-day moving average on the 5-minute chart. I bought at 415.48. Initially went my way. It was a good risk to reward ratio. I liked it, but 2 bars later, it closed below my entry. So it was a loss. I got in at 415.48, and I exited at 415.23 for a loss. Okay. VIX. Well, I had a good trade on VIX. As you know, I've kind of been stalking VIX quite a lot lately. I did this, I think it was Friday when I bought it intraday, but I did buy VIX intraday early this morning when it triggered the V2. I bought VIX at 998. It's 1034. So I will probably keep this trade as a swing trade because I have such a good profit in it. But so far, this particular trade is up 3.38% just on just for a day trade. MACD is positive. We're back above 35. I don't think I would buy this today if it were a new trade. I think it's right on the line of whether I would buy it. But because I entered when that V2 triggered, I will most likely keep this and see, unless I see a big, huge reversal. And then lastly, I had a trade on Apple today on the 25-minute bar. I haven't traded Apple for a while. But we had this big bar up earlier in the morning. We came back down. This V2 triggered here above halfway. I got in at 134.48, 25-minute bar, so they take a while. Next bar went up, I didn't do anything. Next bar went sideways and didn't do anything. Next bar went up, rejected the -1 ATR channel. I sold half at 134.73. And then I looked at this and I said, you know what? My stop seems really far away. So what I did was when it got back to break even, I just sold the other half for break even. So I did make on half my position. I made from 134.48 to 134.73. So nothing really to write home about today on the day trades, but still positive and grateful for that. Yvara's here. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. Paxton is here. Good to see you, Packy. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Gary says, what do you think of a short position on DIA with the rejection of the 70 RSI and the third ATR channel, possible V2 to the downside? So, okay. I prefer, Gary, when I make my short positions, not to short from higher highs. You know how I like to buy higher lows to the upside? I also like to short lower highs to the downside. Here we've made a higher high. Yes, it looks like it's rejecting the 70. It looks like it's a V2. It looks like it's rejecting the the third ATR channel. But this has been a strong move up. I'm not saying it can't go down a day or even two, but I'm pretty sure there will be buyers on that first dip. You know, if you come from a higher high, buyers at the first dip. If you come from a lower high, usually you don't have the buyers anymore because that lower high failed. So, I mean, yes, you could certainly play it. 68.91, 69 right now. So, you know, it's a good risk to reward ratio. If it closed above 70, you could just go ahead and get out. But I prefer when I'm making my short positions to make short positions from lower highs, Gary, instead of higher highs, because lower highs seem to be able to run a whole lot more. Frank has a poem for us. Let's get to it. Oh man, I feel like I am late today. I spaced out and didn't realize the time on the podcast. I was like, oh my gosh. All right, let's see what Frank has today. And Frank, thank you as always for your poems. I always enjoy reading them. I know everyone else enjoys them. Frank says, traders are renters. They don't care to own. They place orders by weighing the risk that is known. If a trade goes badly, they shrug and groan, but always get up and get back in the zone. That's right. I saw that. I thought you were going to say value zone. Can I put value zone on there? Traders are renters. They don't care to own. They place orders by weighing the risk that is known. That's right. They don't know what the real risk is, but with the risk that is known. If a trade goes bad, they shrug and groan, but always get up and get back in the zone. Fantastic. Fantastic, Frank. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me see. Give me a second. Let me take care of a little biz over here. Give me one sec, please. 10:29. All right, so let's do that then. Bump, bump, bump. And bump. All right, so that was sold at, okay. Perfect. Perfection. Okay, what was I doing? Uh-huh. All right, what was I doing? Oh, your trades. Let's get to them. SPCE. All right. Gary and Tracy bought SPCE with bounce off the 200-day moving average, 2682. Unfortunately, this one has just collapsed. It's down another 5.14% today. So down on the trade and down on the day, unfortunately. Steve, David, Johan, Kamal, Gary took the 520 crossover on Unity software. No, excuse me. I think David bought it 97.90 or Kamal. Oh, I think Johan, Kamal, and Gary bought at 97.90. And then I think David and Steve bought at 101.90 with the 520 crossover. I think they were this was a higher low V1, and this crossover here was the other signal. So down 2.82% today. So down on the day, down on the trade on the crossover, and right about even on the trade on the higher low V1. Spotify. Steve, David did take Spotify with the 1030 EMA crossover. They bought it at 292.80. It's 279.38, down 4.33% today. So down on the day and down on the trade. SCCO, Tracy bought SCCO at 72.38 with the 520 crossover. Had a nice little run, was up earlier in the day. It is down today, but it is up on the trade. Stitch Fix, Gary and Tracy bought Stitch Fix with the V1, close back above the 200-day moving average, double bottom, bullish divergence. Initially went up today. Today now it is down below the 200-day moving average. So this one is also down on the day and down on the trade. DocuSign. Johan, Kamal, David, Bruce did buy DocuSign, confluence of signals, close under 250, over 250. MACD went positive. We had a V2. It has run up beautifully. Today, though, is down 3.91%. Looks like it's closing below the previous day's low. Looks like it's closing below the 5 EMA. So down on the day, but everyone nicely up on the trade. SIVB is up today for Tracy and Steve. Bought with the 520 crossover at 511.26. It's 520.81. So nicely up on the trade and also up on the day. KMX, Lilia bought the 520 crossover at 132.17. Sold half when it lost both the 5 and the 20. Is down today and also down on the trade. NVAX is Frank's big winning trade that he had. I'm very proud of him. This is one of the biggest trades I've seen all year. Frank bought this all the way back at 135, more than doubled, sold 90% of his position, just kept a 10% trailer. And when I say 10% trailer, he just kept 10% of his position for kind of the long term. And this has rallied nicely. It is down today, but we've had a nice rally last week. Square. All right, Johan bought Square at 236.60. 520 crossover, had amazing profits in there. I hope Johan took some profits on the way up, and it is just really turned and gone back down now. Still, it's down on the day. It's still up on the trade. ELY is Callaway Golf. Frank bought Callaway Golf at 27.75. It's currently 28.81. It's a little down on the day, but it is up on the trade. Teladoc, Johan bought Teladoc. False breakout to the downside, V1, 182, moved up nicely, but today down. Is down on the day, but it looks like it's still slightly up on the trade. CMG is Chipotle. Frank bought Chipotle at 14.52, moved up nicely, sideways motion, is up on the day, and it is also up on the trade. So congratulations to Frank. IWM, Steve bought IWM with the 1030 and the 1050 combination SMA crossovers. Bought at 224.12. It's currently 221.26. It is down 1.57% on the day and a little bit also down on the trade. Lyft. Steve bought Lyft with the 520 crossover at 64.70. And it just has moved down since then. So it's down 2.35%. It is down on the day, and it is also down on the trade. And then last but not least is Clorox with Lilia, false breakout to the downside. V2 bought at 190, 170. It's currently 189.89. This one down on the day, down on the trade. So kind of a tough day, definitely all the way around. All right, so listen, before we start getting into taking a look at possible end of day candidates, I like to talk a little bit about trader psychology each day. Helps me. I hope that it helps you. This is from Peter Brandt. If you don't know who Peter Brandt is, he was featured in the new Market Wizards book by Jack Schwager, The Unknown Market Wizards. And that was one of my favorite chapters in his trading history, his career, all the things he's gone through. But he's at Peter L. Brandt on Twitter, or just look up Peter Brandt. I respect very much what this man has to say. If you looked at his P&L over the last 30, 40 years, I think you would respect him as well. But let's see what Peter has to say. It does not bother me to be wrong on a trade. I expect to be wrong on at least 50% of my trades. It is ratio of win size to loss size that really matters. Let's just say you and I are flipping a coin. And let's say that if I win, you pay me $1. If you win, I pay you $2. Would you take that bet from me? Of course you would. Because it's a 50-50 proposition. That edge is going to play out over time, but you're going to get paid 2 times compared to what I get paid. I mean, you should do that as long as your eyes can stay open, because it's mathematical certainty that you would win. If I win, you pay me $1. If you win, I pay you $2. So it's a 50-50 proposition, but you would clean my clock all day long with that setup where you pay me 2 times and I pay you 1. Well, that's exactly what Peter's talking about here. He doesn't care if he wins only 50% of his time, 50% of the time. He just wants to make more money on the trades that he wins compared to what he loses. And how do you do that? Well, you look at risk to rewards. I talk about it all the time. I talk about it every day. At least a 2-to-1. Just like the 2-to-1 based on the coin flip, it's the same with trading. How do you know where 2-to-1 is? Well, okay, so that's a little bit, that's a good question, but you don't know for sure, but you just have to look at what's probable. You have to look at what's probable as far as the support below you, where your line in the sand is, where your end of day stop is. And then you also have to look at some type of strong or likely or strong, valid, and likely resistance above you, whether it's a major moving average, whether it's an RSI level. So it's not about win rate. Some of the best traders in the world probably win only 35% of the time. Could you do it? Could you do it? Could you lose 65% of the time? A lot of people do it. It's just obviously the times that people win, the 35% of the time they win a much larger amount than what they lose. So it's good advice. This is definitely a man that you should listen to with an enormous amount of experience and following, but follow him at Peter L. Brandt. And one more time, it does not bother me to be wrong on a trade. I expect to be wrong on he expects to be wrong at least 50% of all trades. It is ratio of win size to loss size that really matters. So Peter knows what he's talking about. I use the same rule. And so if this hasn't sunk in, let this sink in. Maybe you don't listen to me, but listen to Peter Brandt, because it is a very important concept. So thank you, Peter Brandt. That was helpful for me, and I hope it was helpful for everyone else. Okay, before I jump into new positions, let me quickly check and see current positions. I always say this, but it's more important to manage the positions than you have to look for new ones. Everything's fine on AGQ. It's up on the trade, on the weekly, nothing to do. Berkshire Hathaway, very likely. Oh, it's right there, isn't it? Can you tell I kind of want to get out of these positions? If it closes below 270.11, I will get out of everything. But it's 270.13, so it may keep me back. It may keep me in. I don't know. I'll have to follow that. Budweiser is the monthly chart. Doing great, up 9.16% on the trade. Beyond Meat definitely looks like it's going to close below both the 5 and the 20. I will sell half. CVS down a little bit today. One profit target. Doesn't look like I have to do anything here. EXPE Nice trade so far, good relative strength, especially on a bearish day like today. Hit the profit target. Nothing really I'm going to have to do with this as is. Gold. I've moved to my 1.5 trailing ATR level. If I get a close below the previous day's low here, I will sell half. So this is definitely a potential for me to sell half. GPN. Sell half, perhaps even the whole amount. I'll have to watch the 5 EMA. Yeah, and where's my blue box here to remind me? So I'm going to have to watch that one carefully. So I'm going to have to watch things pretty carefully here today. Goldman Sachs is up. No problem with that one. Haas, I'm already out. I moved 1.5 ATRs for my entry, sold half Friday with a close below the previous day's low after reaching the 1.5 trailing ATR stop. Once I get 1.5 ATRs for my entry, if it ever comes back to my entry, I get out at break even so that I don't give up the gain on the trade. And I did, and I'm done. So I'm actually going to just put that over here just to have fewer things to look at. Light on the weekly, nothing I have to do there. MasterCard on the daily. Looks very likely that I'm going to get out of this entire trade. And then Merck on the weekly. Don't have to do anything there. All right. Love it. And Dan says, love the poem, Frank. And I do as well. And Frank says, thanks, Lova and Dan, Greg. You bet. Kamal is here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you, my good friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you and the family are doing well. Had a nice weekend. Thank you for everything that you do for this channel, including your friendship, Kamal. I really appreciate that. David says, hi, Greg and group. A little late today. Good to see you, David. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Hope you and the family are also doing well. All right. Well, what is it? 142. So let's meander on down to potential end of day setups. All right. This is not a potential end of day setup. Jonathan and I were talking about this during our lesson on Sunday. At one point, this had created a nice false breakout to the downside and a V1. Do you see how it got right to the close, Jonathan? Like literally to the penny, and then came back down. So earlier in the day, I was hoping that this would trigger a nice false breakout to the downside V2, but it didn't. I don't have the shares, so I'm just going to get that one and clear the board. CCL earlier in the day had also triggered a false breakout to the downside in the V1. This is now untriggered, so I will forget about that one. For all you Bitcoiners out there, you can see Bitcoin did get hammered over the weekend, down 10%. If you're interested in Bitcoin, we did reject the 50-day moving average, which is good. It's substantial. We did have a false breakout to the downside from the low of this range. Here's the low. We went below it during the day and above it. So technically this is a false breakout to the downside. Is that enough for me to buy? Not really. It would be good in conjunction with other signals. It did reject under the -1 ATR channel. So, if you're dying to get into Bitcoin, you could enter at this level. I would get out with the close under the 50 because it's a good risk to reward ratio, but be careful, be careful with every stock, be careful with Bitcoin, be careful with everything. The truth is in this chart, everybody. The truth is in the chart. The truth is not in the news. It's not in stories. It's in the chart. So please remember that. Follow what the chart is doing, not what hype is doing. So Bitcoin, ideally for me, would have to move sideways, I'd look for a V1 or a V2 to enter the trade. But right now, it could certainly keep going. There's a big gap. Likely we'll fill that gap. Maybe. I don't know. We could just continue down. You never know. But I want it to prove to me that there's some stability. Then it's more likely then it could go up. Right here, yes, if you're right, you could be right pretty big. But you also have a big potential of this Bitcoin to continue to move down. ILMN. ILMN is pretty good. It is a false breakout to the downside. It is a V2. It is, well, one bad thing about it right here, everyone, is that, yeah, it was above the 50 RSI today already. So I would not take this trade because today it already rejected the 50 RSI. Normally, I would take this trade 100%. If it closes above 50 RSI, I will consider taking the trade. But right now, as it is, it rejected the 50 and closed back under. If I was in the trade, I would be selling half. So if I would be selling half, why would I be buying an entirely new position right here? So I do like it. Be careful. There's a large bid to spread between the bid and the ask. Like I think 30 cents, 30, 40 cents, maybe even larger. So, you know, if you're considering buying this, make sure you try to middle that spread, get in the middle of the bid and the ask. Obviously buying at the bid would be better. But regardless, unless this closes over 50 RSI, I will not buy it. If it does, I'll probably look at it. CNK, false breakout to the downside, V2. Did we reject the 50 RSI? I'm not sure. Let's take a look. I don't think we did. No, we did not. So unless it rejects the 50 RSI, I don't know it rejected the 50 RSI, so I would still have faith in it. So, you know, Cinemark Holdings looks pretty decent here. It looks fairly decent. If it closes with the V2 and the false breakout to the downside, if I do buy it, my stop will be halfway of the washout bar, which was Friday's bar. So I'll have to watch that one at the end of the day. Etsy. All right, so we talked about Etsy with Steve. Is the 520 still in place? It is. Excuse me, the 1020. The 10 is 215.65. The 50 is 214.81. This does back test well. You're getting it at a better price. That is for sure. It is down 3% today, so keep that in mind. It is a valid signal, you know, and you're getting it off the highs. You're getting it back in the value zone, which I like. So right now, I kind of like, I would say ILMN has already rejected the 50, so that's really not going to be possible. Cinemark, I do like. It hasn't rejected the 50. It has a nice false breakout to the downside and a V1, and then Etsy. So my favorite two at the moment are Etsy and Cinemark. VIX, okay. So again, I bought VIX earlier today, intraday on the V2 at 998. Would I chase it here? I don't know. There is a whole lot of volume, everybody. Look at that volume. My Lord. That is a lot of volume on VIX. Will we get backfilled? Maybe. Do I want to buy it here with an under 30, over 30, with the 30 being all the way back down there? You know, if I were new to buying this, my stop would probably be halfway the washout bar, and even that's kind of a long way away. I'm going to keep it, right? Because I'm in the money on the trade, but whether I would initiate a new position here, probably doubtful. WBA, it's a V1 in the value zone, but there's no false breakout to the downside. There was no sideways motion. AFRM, which is a firm holdings, I don't see anything there. INSG is making a base there. Looks like it maybe tested the 30. I don't see enough there. Eli Lilly has a 520 crossover. Let me check and see what Eli Lilly, how that back test with the 520 crossover. It's a little, well, I'll do it just to see, but I wouldn't buy it here anyway because of the it's at the second ATR channel. It's just too high for me. Does it backtest well? No, it does not. It backtests negatively. So that's out. Lululemon, I don't see anything there that looks very good. EDU, it's a fractal. Jonathan, if you're out there, we have a high with two lower highs to the left, two lower highs to the right. It did trigger the fractal. Earnings are tomorrow, though. So, I don't know if they're in the morning or the afternoon. So, no, I'm not going to get involved in that. Trip earlier in the day had a 520 crossover. Not going to get involved in that. And KMX, I don't see a new signal on that. That's for sure. So, Cinemark and Etsy, or CNK and Etsy. So, let me put these over here. CNK and ETSY. Excuse me. Those are tough. All right, we have 9 minutes. I've got to get to work. Okay, so Berkshire Hathaway is fine. BYD, I'm going to sell half. Otherwise, I'm going to get stuck with too many things at the end of the day. All right. But really right now, more importantly, is to get rid of the current positions than add new ones because of the price action of all of this. All right, so I'm selling half of Beyond Meat. Maybe it will come back. I don't know. I don't care, to be honest with you. Okay. So I'm selling half of Beyond Meat here. Why is that? Oh, I see. CVS is fine. EXP is fine. Gold. I'm going to have to wait on that one. GPN. I'm going to at least sell half of GPN. I don't know if it's going to close below the 5-day or not, but I have too many things to look at to do that. MasterCard, I'm going to clear the deck on MasterCard. All of these are going to be photo finishes, so I'm just going to give my best effort here on what I think is going to happen. I'm going to have too many things to do. MasterCard, okay. So I'm selling, oh no. I'm selling all of MasterCard. Yeah, I'm going to sell all of MasterCard. Yep. Merck is up now. That's good. So Berkshire, still don't know. Beyond Meat, I sold half. Gold, I still don't know. I think it looks likely that it's going to close under, so I'm going to sell half. And lock in profits on that. And where's gold? Okay, here we go. Sell half of that. Busy day today. MasterCard, I am out of. Lock that in. CNK, making a new high. That's good. Okay, closing in 5 minutes. I think I'm going to go with CNK. I think that's what I'm going to buy today. right, so C and K is going to be it. Steve is long Etsy. Steve says, I don't hold under the 30 RSI. Oh yeah, you want to get out under the 30 RSI. That's the level. Remember, your emergency stop is your 2 ATRs below, but any close, Tracy, below the 30 RSI, remember, that's your end of day stop. I am exiting the following. Okay, I will get those all updated. Kamal is out of DocuSign and you all in cash. Okay. So I'm just waiting on the end of the day here for CNK. Berkshire Hathaway looks like it's going to hold. Barely. Beyond Meat out of half. Gold out of half. Out of MasterCard, out of all of it. And of course, I'm buying my overnight SPY trade. Apple green on the day. Apple has been resilient today, which is good. Especially with the Dow being down 147 points. My gosh. Very, very resilient. Still holding the third ATR channel. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, place my orders here for CNK. Done. Please don't reject the 50 RSI. I'll have to sell it. Okay, we have about 45 seconds, everyone. I was glad to see CNK close like that. That's good. All right, then I should. Yeah. All right. So let's see where everything was bought today. Overnight SPY trade was bought at 415.21. CNK was bought at $22 even. All right, so CNK I'm in at 21 even. I mean 22 even. Wish I was at 21 even. All right, so there is my entry. Red line there is halfway. The washout bar is the stop. So that's good. Overnight SPY trade entered at 4:15:21. So got a good fill there. All right. So listen, if any of my students have any new positions, new entries or exits for me up on the board, if you could please put them in the live stream now, and I will get them all updated. Just real quick, just 3 quick pieces of business before we update the board. One, just want to remind everybody that I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I think I'm a really good teacher, and I know I teach a really good course. It's a 15-hour course, 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. I teach you all 5 of my strategies that I use. I teach you step by step so you'll know exactly how to use them, how to position size, how to set end of day stops, how to use emergency stops, how to set end of day stops, how to set intraday profit targets, overhead resistance levels, trailing stop levels. It's a great course. I know when you're done with the course, you're going to be a better trader. It does cost $1,750, but it's worth every penny. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny of the 25 years of my experience of developing these, using these, learning these. And if you're a new trader out there, I tell you what, there's no better way to start trading than trading this the right way, so you don't have to get broken of any bad habits and a bunch of losses that you're inevitably going to have if you don't know how to trade. So if you are interested, you can send me a message. My email is in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. If you do, just say, "Hi Greg, I'm possibly interested in taking your course." I will reply, say, "Great, let's set up a Skype call." Skype call is free. I just want to learn more about you and your trading, your challenges and your goals. And it's a good time for you to ask me specific questions about the course. Then you can think about it when the call's done. And in the future, if you want to schedule, just let me know and we'll get it scheduled up and we will start, and I will teach you everything that I know, and I work really hard at it. And it's very important to me that my students succeed. Number 2, I do have a new course, online course, on udemy.com. It's the Deep Dip Buy Stock Trading Strategy. It's 9.5 hours of video, 26 videos, 15 study guides. It's selling really well on Udemy. I've got some really great reviews and feedback, and learning the deep dip buy approach is one of my favorite approaches, and I teach you in that Udemy course step by step. It's only like $12 or $15 on Udemy, so I think most people can afford that, and what you get for that $12 or $15 is great. So if you're interested, the link is in the description of this video. And then lastly, if you like today's podcast, I really would appreciate it if you could just quickly hit the thumbs up button. Just helps to build the channel, keep the channel around, grow the channel, help other people find this channel, and hopefully, hopefully as with you, I can teach them some good trading and investing principles. So if you could do that before you boogie on out of here and head on with your day, I would really appreciate that. Okay, done with business, and let's take a look here. So Steve is long Etsy. All right, so Steve is long Etsy at 213.35 with the 520 SMA crossover. So let's put this here. So that's Steve. 1050 SMA. Sometimes they're SMAs. They're not always EMAs. So good luck on that trade, Steve. All right. Steve is out of IWM. All right. So we'll take Steve out of IWM, out of Lyft. Okay. Out of Lyft, out of U. Out of Spotify. But you see how when the stock that Steve buys on these crossovers goes up, he holds like a champion, has holding power to the upside, but when they come down and they're not doing well, he just quickly gets out. See, that's why Steve's a good trader, because he quickly cuts those losses and he lets the winners run. Remember, cutting losses, we all know about that. Letting winners run, also a skill. Also a skill. This is not an AGQ. This is not an easy profession, everyone, right? I mean, it's not. Most people think you just, sit in your underwear and eat your Cocoa Puffs and just make lots of money. Some days, but other days it is hard. If it wasn't hard, there'd be a lot more people that made money at it. You need confluences of signals. You need to be patient. You need to be disciplined. You need to do things that go against your human nature. It's tough. It's tough, man. I'm telling you. Kamal, is that a DocuSign? All right, Kamal, glad you took a third off when you did. And you, out of you. Where did you go? Okay, so there's Kamal. Get rid of that. Kamal is all in cash. Johan is out of you as well. Out of DocuSign. Out of Teledoc. Okay. And out of Square. Okay. Profitable trade there. Good. Tracy Peterson sold 1/2 Beyond Meat. Like I did. Out of MasterCard, like I was. Out of SCCO. Okay, good. That was positive trade, Trace. Nice. Out of Spice, I'm glad to see that. And in CNK. Okay. All right, Lilia is also out of MasterCard, locked in profits on MasterCard. Nice going, Lilia. Out of half of Beyond Meats. As with myself. Out of Clorox. Okay. All right, Frank is out of Beyond Meat. At the close, loss. Etsy, half position on the close on the crossover. Okay. So Frank is in with Steve on the Etsy trade. 1/2. Good luck to you, Frank. Jonathan D is out of MasterCard. Okay. Good. Johan says hit the like button. Thank you, Johan. Appreciate that. Gary says out of you. All right. out of half of master. All right. I've been out of SPCE. Yeah, I would figured that you would have, Gary, but I didn't see you say that, so I didn't assume. But yeah, I figured you would be out of that a while ago. David is out of MasterCard. And added DocuSign. Good trade on DocuSign, huh? Okay, and Bruce is out of that also. All right, so DocuSign's done. Thank you, DocuSign. Nice trip. David is out of 1/2 Beyond Meat. Lovis says, after a V1, V2 entry, do you use exactly halfway of the washout bar as an end-of-day stop, or do you give any wriggle room for that at all? No, I do not, love it. That is my end-of-day stop. That is my end-of-day stop. I mean, if we look over at light, you know, this is a weekly bar, but it's the same concept. The washout bar was back here where I bought it. That halfway mark is 85.40. If it closes below 85.40, if it closes at 85.39, I am out of there. If it closes at 85.41, I stay in. So no wriggle room whatsoever. If you give yourself wiggle room, then you don't have any rules anymore, right? And I think the biggest disadvantage of that is mentally for you. It's just more sustainable and easier on you mentally if you just say, this is my number. If it's under, I get out. If it's over, I stay in. But if you don't have the rules and it's discretionary, then man, you've got to do a lot of mental wrestling and angst every single day to make that final decision, right? It's too much for me. Lovis says, Play and JetBlue each closed barely below halfway the washout bar. There's other positive things about the chart. I had to sell them at the close that I missed selling them. I'm tempted to keep them. Each closed barely below halfway. There's other positive thing about the chart. I had so much to sell at close that I missed keep selling them. Well, this looks like to me it closed above though on play. This also looks, I mean, just from a real quick look, this looks like it closed about halfway also. I think it's okay. But if keeping them means I'm breaking a hard rule, I will get out. I don't know if you measure it, exactly to the penny. I usually don't. I just kind of eyeball it just because it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It did bounce off the 50 RSI, so, but if you have to sell in after hours, you're going to have to take into consideration what the spread is also. Okay, be careful in extended markets there, Lova. Make sure you try to get filled at the ask or the mid. Jonathan said, remember, if we didn't have rules, we would all live in France. That's what Jonathan tells me when we have our one-on-one lessons. There you go. If you didn't have rules, I guess you'd live in France. I guess that's a saying that they have. So we have to keep those rules, Lova, right? Johan says, thank you. Enjoy your hike today, Greg. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you, Johan. That's kind of you, sir. Lova says, I know you're right about following rules. Hey, you might sell it and it might go rocketing up tomorrow. What are you going to do? Right? You just have to find a sustainable way for you to trade. And if you never have rules, you're just going to have all this angst. You're not going to know, you're just not going to have a direction. It's going to be at the whim of your emotions that very last second. It's more about you and mental peace than it is the exact penny of whether you're above or below, honestly. Okay, so plays below and JetBlue's below. Just make sure you're careful in after hours, though. That's the big thing. Let's see what's happening after hours. Silver's unchanged, Berkshire's up, Budweiser's unchanged, Beyond Meat's down, CNK is up, CVS is down. These don't really mean much on some of these stocks, so gold's down a little bit. Goldman Sachs up a little bit. What's SPY doing? Up 16 cents. Hey, hey, hey. VIX is probably down. Yeah, down 4 cents. All right, good enough. Good enough. Listen, I like to leave everybody off with this saying every day. This is from Martin Kornfeld. But listen, if we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. It's not that hard to do, everyone. Let's try to go out, do one nice thing for one person each day. Let's try to go out and do one nice thing for one animal each day, even if just holding the door open for them, helping them with their bag, just anything. If they drop something, help pick it up. If they left their cap off of their truck or their car, let them know about it. Just one nice act of kindness, and maybe one day when you need it, somebody will be there for you as well. And also, if we could do this for an animal, that would be twice as good. Animals need love. They like when nice things are done for them. I've had animals my whole life. I can assure you that they do. So let's try to do one nice thing for an animal. Let's try to do one nice thing for a human. It will make them feel better. It will make you feel better. It's a win-win all around. And I just think it's the right thing to do. And the world would be a better place if we could do that. Paxton says, thanks, Greg. You bet, buddy. Good to see you. Lova says, but if eyeballing is the rule, I think they both look good. Yeah. I usually eyeball it, to be honest with you. But, you know the point I'm trying to make. I just eyeball it. There's the level. If it's below, I sell it. If it's above, I keep it. Lova says, I'm going to follow the real rule. I'll put in limit orders and extended for the closing price. Fine. That sounds like a good idea. You're welcome, Lova. You are definitely welcome. I'm really impressed, Lova, with your hard work and your dedication and your study. And I have no doubt you're becoming a better trader. Your analysis has been fantastic. Very, very proud of you. And I really sincerely mean that. So Steve goes over here. VIX is my position. So far, pretty good position. 19 cents, which is a fair amount on the VIX. And MasterCard I got rid of, so that's over there. And I'm whittling this down slightly. It looks like I have a lot of positions. I do, but a lot of them are half positions. As you know, a lot of them are half positions that got turned into half positions, which are really quarter positions. So, all right. If anybody has any other questions, please let me know. Jonathan says, cheers, guys. Thank you, Jonathan. Hope you're having a good evening. Good trade on MasterCard. Lova says, thanks for encouragement. You bet. I'm glad to see it. Makes me extremely happy. Oh, GPN I sold half. And then where's my other one that I sold all of it? I guess I already got rid of it. Oh, it was Haas. Oh, Lilia's still here. Yeah. So I'm out of Haas as well. So I definitely got rid of some positions today. I did add CNK, but with these levels, I'm I'm kind of actually hoping for some closes below previous day's lows, just so I can get out of more and get out of more. All right. Well, listen, I think that's it for today. Have a good rest of your day. Be good, be safe, drive safe, be kind, all that kind of stuff. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, during the last hour of the market. And if you could hit that thumbs up button on the way out, I would really appreciate that as well. So take care, everyone. Thanks for coming, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.